Happy New Year, lovely you. Welcome back to Zikey channel. 2023 was a year of obstacles and it was a year to learn restriction and discipline. Today I'll share the numerology for 2024. We have the 2, the 0, the 2 again and the 4, which becomes an 8, and 8 represents the law of freedom. And this is very closely linked to our emotional life, and I'll come back to that very shortly. But first, let's look at the numbers separately. First, we have the 2. The number 2 represents balance. It's the yin and yang, the black and white, the hard, the easy, all the polarities. And the blessing from the number 2 is that we have the possibility of working on creating balance. The challenge here is polarity, and we get tempted to choose black and white. In our minds, we start to think right and wrong, light or darkness, like we were choosing between two extremes. Whereas the blessing is when we are able to see that we all consist of everything, and we work with these polarizations inside ourselves, and this way we can reflect more balance into society. So 2 is the yin and yang, and we learned ages ago, thousands of years ago, that there is white in the black and there is black in the white, in the symbol of duality. So we do consist of everything, and we need both. We need the darkness and we need the light to see the whole picture. So one doesn't exist without the other. Personally, number 2 reminds us to become responsible for our own life, responsible for our thoughts, our actions, but also responsible for our emotions. And that means if we have a default setting that everything that goes wrong, we blame someone else, society, our spouse, our children, our parents, we lose the potential of changing the situation because we give away our power. Here comes the stimuli, and I will be forced to give a reaction because inside me, I feel this reaction, I can't control it. So I react to something that happens. It gives me no power whatsoever. Whereas if I get a stimuli and I can choose my reaction, because I take responsibility for the emotion that is coming up in me. I take responsibility for the thoughts that are coming up in me, and I take responsibility for my life and reactions. Then I can become proactive. And proactivity in this number 2, in the law of balance, means that I have much more control over how I contribute into this world and also in my personal life. Because I am starting the movement, I am in control of my own energy, and I decide where I put that energy. We use our own power, and most importantly of all, we keep our inner peace even if we are triggered by others, even if we are triggered by television, by the news, by our family members, by whatever happens around us. We can keep our inner peace and control the way we use our energy. And this is not the same as repressing emotions, but I come back to emotions with the number 8 in a little moment. Now we have a 0 coming after the 2, and the 0 is the pause, to take a break, to allow the energies to fall into place by themselves without forcing them to. So sometimes we can have a project and so forth, and then we need a little break before we can continue. And if we don't take this break, if we don't understand that our bodies, our mind, and our digestion, our lives, we need breaks. We need pauses to recover, to recharge our batteries, and to make the energy move and settle by itself, because the body knows what we need if we just allows it the space to heal, the space to reorganize, the space to recover the energy that we've been using. And then we have the number 2 again, 202, which is the law of balance, as I was talking about. And then we have number 4. And 4 is representing our safety. When this is in balance in us, when we have access to the law of safety, then our ideas and our beliefs about reality matches reality. So my ideas about myself matches the me that is out there in society. And what I believe in is what I see, I create. The challenge with this is that we can have beliefs that we're not even aware of, that come from our past. It can be inherited from our parents and grandparents. It can be inherited from society we live in. And these old beliefs may have been outdated or should have been outdated, so they don't fit my reality today. And if I carry such beliefs, it won't fit with my idea of what I can do. Maybe I put limitations on myself, and maybe I don't see the opportunities in my life. So here, the magic that lays in the law of safety, in the number 4, is that we can redefine what we think about ourselves, what we believe about ourselves, when we look at it, when we do some inner work, some shadow work, and look at our beliefs. We can change our beliefs, and when we do that, we change the reality, because from the beliefs we will start creating a new reality. So here's a lot of magic in this number 4, but it's also a place that where we should feel safe inside ourselves. It has to do with our self-esteem, and it has to do with the safety in the world in general. So it has wider aspects and smaller aspects, because as the number 2 says, as above, so below, whatever happens inside us will be reflected in the outer world. And then adding all the numbers, we get the number 8. And the number 8 represents the law of freedom, and it's closely linked to our emotions. And the challenge here is to know how we can work with our emotions. Now, the wonderful thing is that we have got a lot of training in using the law number 2, the law of balance. And if we take that seriously, it means we take responsibility also for our emotions. And when we do so, we help the law number 8, which is a pole in the psychic system. And when we have this imbalance, then we are able to accept our feelings. So it means we have access to our feelings. We can see them and we can accept them. We have started on a year where the emotions will be strong. It's the 8th year, and it means, yes, we are entitled to our freedom. We can work on our freedom by taking responsibility for our own emotions and our actions and our thoughts, but especially our emotions in this time. Because if we are reacting, if we don't work with taking the responsibility, then we will keep blaming each other. We will blame the other party, we will go into polarization, we will not create balance, we will not create freedom. If we take responsibility for our own emotions, our actions, our thoughts, and we don't go into polarization, but we use this sense of balance, then the number 8 will give us an opportunity to work and live from a more heart-centered place, where we're in touch with our emotions and we use our emotions as information. Because any emotion that comes to the surface tells us something. Let's say I feel jealousy or sadness or anger or any unpleasant emotion. This emotion is telling me that something must change. I must do something. I must change something. It's not because there's something wrong with these emotions. It's just that they bring an information. If I don't understand that, I will just act on the emotion itself. This information is telling us something about what goes on inside. Emotions are personal. They happen inside us. And by me taking responsibility for those emotions, I don't need to go out there and blame everybody else for me having these emotions. But it might be, for instance, that you feel a lot of sadness of what's going on in the world. You don't know how to act, what to do, how to help. Then taking responsibility for this feeling of sadness or anger or whatever, it can give you the opportunity to do something that is in alignment with what you feel. So this emotion is telling you, okay, you need to go out there and see if you can do something politically, if you can join an environmental group, if you can send some money to starving children somewhere, if you can help politically in engagement, or maybe you can sit down and do some prayers. Maybe you're inside, maybe you don't feel that kind of energy that you can rush around and help everyone, but you can sit down and give your prayers and good intentions and bring this balance and law of freedom also into the world. So we can all do something, and the information we get from our emotions, that is our key of how to act. So we have to look at them. We have to see where they come from, taking them seriously. For you personally, it might mean that if you feel anger, if you have anger inside, you start by accepting it's there and you look at it and you try to see where it comes from. What is it telling you? Listening to the anger, trying to communicate with the anger, because there is a part of you telling you something old that has to be released, something that is happening that you need to change. Maybe you need time to grieve. Maybe something that you need to do in a different way in your life right now. And simply feeling our emotions isn't enough. We need to take responsibility for them. We need to listen to what they want to tell us, what we need to change, what we need to do. Because if we act on emotions and let them steer us, we will go into new troubles, new fights, new quarrels, new conflicts. Because being led by our emotions alone is not the way forward. We must use them as personal information. It's very, very personal. At least I find my emotions to be very personal. They're telling something about my reaction to what I experience. It's your consciousness, your light. You are in charge. And using our emotions as information gives us inner power and the feeling of freedom. We can keep our hearts open and support each other in a much better way without losing ourselves. We create inner peace by taking responsibility for our emotions and listening to the information that our emotion bring us. I believe working with our inner shadows makes us better people, better with each other, better in choosing our leaders, better in collaborating and cooperating, creating better relationships in our personal life. But also I think that working with our inner shadows and our personal shadows helps us bring more light into the world, help us heal wounds that are out there in the world. I see a beautiful world which is under so much pressure, and so many people are struggling and suffering from this pressure that we're all under, and we need to work on our hearts, work on our emotions to be able to release and change and transform. So let's start 2024 by asking ourselves, what do we feel? And what is this feeling telling us? What is it that I need to listen to? What do I have to change? How can I heal my inner wounds or keep healing my inner wounds? How can I contribute to the society, contribute to this world, and being a supportive person to the situation that we're in? Every thought matters, every emotion matters, every human being matters. Of course, all the other creatures on our planet too. But we have this possibility of supporting each other and asking, how can I contribute? What can I do to make the world a little bit better for me, for my surroundings, and globally? Let's take our emotions seriously and keep working deep and powerfully, because 2024 is a year where we can set ourselves free. We can become proactive, positively communicating with the society around us, and we can open and become more heart-centered and preparing for the 2025, which will be a golden year if we choose so. I wish you a very nice year. Let's share some love.